For a franchise that's been around since the late 80s, Predator suddenly feels more alive than it has in decades. And the wild part is, it's not because of a giant crossover or some flashy reboot, it's because the series finally found a storyteller who actually understands what makes these movies hit. Dan Trachtenberg came in with Prey and flipped everything. No muscle-bound commandos, no endless explosions. Just survival, tension, atmosphere, and a monster that feels scary again. That one move changed the whole future of the franchise. Now he's basically running the show. Prey, Killer of Killers, Badlands, and whatever comes next are all under his creative control. Let's start with the movie nobody expected to matter this much, Killer of Killers. On paper, an animated Predator anthology sounds like a side project. In reality, it became a huge win. Critics loved it, fans were into it, and more importantly, it proved Predator doesn't need big stars or massive budgets to work. You just need good stories, strong atmosphere, and respect for the creature. From feudal Japan to World War era battles, it showed how flexible this universe really is. Drop a Yautja into any era and it just works. It's like Assassin's Creed with alien hunters. But that ending, that's where things got crazy. Instead of just closing out another episode, Killer of Killers quietly set up the biggest idea the franchise has had in years. The Predators aren't just killing elite warriors anymore, they're collecting them, freezing them, storing them in cryopods like trophies they can reuse whenever they want another hunt. And inside those pods are some very familiar faces. Dutch, Mike Harrigan, and Naru from Prey. Not time travel, just advanced tech. The Yautja grab warriors from their own eras, lock them away, and unthaw them when it's game time again. If that sounds familiar, it should. Predators from 2010 played with a similar idea, dropping killers from different parts of Earth onto one hunting planet, but this takes it way further. Rows and rows of pods, hundreds of humans across history who somehow managed to take down a predator. That's not just a cool visual, that's a roadmap. Story-wise, it opens the door to something Predator has never really had before. Continuity. Imagine Naru waking up decades or centuries later, thrown into a new arena with legends like Dutch and Harrigan. Different eras, different fighting styles, same nightmare. That's an instant crossover without touching Alien at all. And it turns Naru into the emotional core of the saga, the one character connecting past and future. Which brings us to Arnold. For years, fans have dreamed about Dutch coming back. Not in some cheesy cameo, but in a real way. And now it finally sounds like it might happen. In an interview with Empire, Trachtenberg confirmed he's been talking with Schwarzenegger about Dutch's future. Not just casual chats, real discussions. The studio is actively looking at ways to bring him back, but it's not going to be what most people imagine. With Arnold pushing 80, a full-on live-action return as an action hero is just not realistic. And honestly, it shouldn't be. Instead, all signs point to something smarter. Voice work, animation, a younger version of Dutch preserved in cryo. That fits perfectly with what Killer of Killers set up. Dutch doesn't need to be old. He can be pulled straight out of 1987, frozen in his prime, and dropped into a new hunt. That's actually genius. You get the character, you get Arnold's voice, you respect his legacy without forcing him into a role his body can't carry anymore. And because it's animated, you can do things visually that live action just can't afford. It feels like the right way to bring the legend back without turning it into a sad nostalgia stunt. And yeah, some people will say it's just fan service, but if Dutch is part of a bigger story, tied into Naru and this whole cryo arena concept, then it becomes more than a cameo. It becomes a bridge between generations of the franchise. People were convinced Badlands was secretly setting up Alien versus Predator, and on top of that, the director of Alien Romulus had already teased that a crossover could happen someday. So fans started connecting dots, breaking down frames, convincing themselves the mystery creature Deck is hunting had to be a xenomorph, but Trachtenberg shut that down, at least for now. And sure, that was a letdown for a lot of people, because let's be real, the idea of a smart, modern AVP done right is insanely tempting. But part of me actually respects the choice. Predator needs to stand on its own again before mixing universes. Build your house before you invite guests. Still, I wouldn't be shocked if there's more being hidden. Directors deny things all the time, so I'm keeping a tiny bit of hope alive that there's some twist waiting in the shadows. There's a strong theory that the final arena teased in Killer of Killers, this gladiator-style hunting ground, is the endgame for the franchise, the place where all these storylines collide, all feeding into one shared saga instead of random standalone stories. That would finally turn Predator into a real cinematic universe. Not in the bloated way, but in a focused, mythic way. Different eras, different heroes, same hunters. Prey didn't just save Predator, it gave the franchise one of its best protagonists ever. Watching Naru go from underestimated healer to warrior, and then war chief was powerful. Amber Midthunder brought so much heart and grit to that role, and for once the human character wasn't just cannon fodder or generic muscle. She was smart, patient, adaptive. She learned the Predator, outthought it, and earned her win. That's why Prey 2 is such a big deal. It was officially confirmed back in early 2024, and all signs point to Naru returning. The ending of Prey basically demands it. 3 Predator ships hovering over her tribe, a promise that this wasn't over. Now she's war chief, responsible not just for herself, but for her people. That's fertile ground for real drama. The danger is scale. It's tempting to turn Prey 2 into a huge war movie, fleet versus tribe, but that's exactly how past sequels lost the plot. Prey worked because it was intimate. One hunter, one survivor, a battle of wits in the wilderness. If the sequel forgets that and goes full spectacle, it risks losing what made the first one special. The sweet spot is escalation without losing focus. Maybe a small hunting party instead of a full army. A smarter, more advanced Yautja. Higher stakes but still grounded in survival and character. If Trachtenberg can pull that off, Prey 2 could be something really special. And if Naru stays the lead, it would be the first time Predator actually commits to a continuing human protagonist. That alone makes it stand out. What I love about this new era is how flexible the timeline has become. Prey proved the past works. Badlands is pushing into the future. Killer of Killers jumps across eras. The franchise is no longer stuck in modern military settings. You can tell stories anywhere. Ancient Greece with Spartans, Roman gladiators in the Colosseum, medieval knights, Renaissance assassins in shadowy cities. The Predator myth fits all of it. That's insane potential. And yet, for all this expansion, the heart of Predator stays the same. The hunt, the tension, the feeling that you're being watched. That's what Trachtenberg gets. The old movies were about raw masculinity and 80s action energy. Muscles, sweat, gunfire. That was fun, but it became a cage. By 2018, the franchise felt stuck, trying to recreate old glory instead of evolving. The Predator was Fox playing it safe, and it blew up in their faces. Prey took a real risk, and it paid off. For me, it's the best thing to happen to Predator in decades, and Killer of Killers kept that creative fire burning. Together, they feel like the foundation of a new era, one that respects the past without being trapped by it. Now, about Alien vs. Predator. Let's be honest, everyone wants it back, but done right this time. Smarter, darker, more connected to real lore instead of just being a monster mash. The Weyland-Yutani in Badlands feels like a breadcrumb. Not a crossover yet, but a reminder that these worlds share DNA. My theory is simple. Build Predator first. Let Naru's story grow. Let Deck's journey play out. Let Dutch return through animation. Then, when the universe feels solid again, you drop the crossover. Not as a gimmick, but as the ultimate collision of 2 fully rebuilt franchises. If that happens, it could be huge. Trachtenberg himself has said he doesn't want to live in Predator forever. He wants to tell other stories too. That's fair, but he's also admitted how rewarding it's been to finally make the kind of films he's always wanted within this world. If Badlands hits, I don't see Disney letting him walk away anytime soon. Right now, the franchise is at a crossroads. Prey 2 will decide if this new character-driven approach can carry forward, and the animated side might quietly build the connective tissue that turns everything into one big saga. For the first time in a long time, Predator doesn't feel like a niche relic. It feels like a universe with momentum, with ideas, with a future, and if it all leads to Naru, Dutch, and other legends waking up in some alien arena for the ultimate hunt, I'm all in. That's the kind of bold swing this franchise deserves.